All right, let's dive right into this explainer and completely rethink a problem I guarantee you face literally every single day: dealing with stubborn people. You know the feeling, right? You're in a conversation, you're making total sense, but the other person just will not budge. It feels like talking to a brick wall. Well, today we are going to look at a source text that completely flips this universal frustration right on its head. Get ready, because we're about to challenge everything you thought you knew about arguments.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Is the person you're arguing with actually stubborn? We instantly slap that stubborn label on people, but the text we're analyzing today drops a major curveball. It argues that while the word stubborn definitely exists in our vocabulary, a truly stubborn person actually doesn't exist. No way, right? Let's look at exactly how we're going to unpack this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover the common illusion about stubbornness, ask if it's stubbornness or a lack of skill, explore evolution and the power of expression, look at how endless assertions ruin relationships, discover the silence that stops conflict, and wrap up with how communication creates miracles. Okay, jumping into Part 1, the common illusion about stubbornness.
So the source hits us with a wild reality check right out of the gate. Stubbornness, it's basically an illusion. The common view is that they just won't listen. But the source's reality, it's merely a reflection of our own inability to explain things effectively. Think about that for a second. When you say, man, that person is so stubborn, you are actually projecting your own lack of skill. It's not that they refuse to understand, it's that your explanation just hasn't reached a level of quality that allows them to process it.
Which brings us right into Part 2, stubbornness or lack of skill.
And this quote really hits the nail on the head. It's my lack of skill, not the other person being stubborn. This is the radical premise of our source material. If you can't change someone's mind, it literally just means you aren't equipped to elevate their thinking yet. It shifts the blame entirely from their character to your current level of knowledge. Because honestly, if someone gave you a perfectly structured explanation that cleared up all your blind spots, you wouldn't remain stubborn either. You'd naturally accept the truth.
Because think about it, humans differ fundamentally from animals. We grow and evolve by intellectually absorbing and understanding concepts. According to the source, when we encounter a truly high-quality explanation, that psychological block we call stubbornness just automatically dissolves. It melts away. Human beings are literally wired to accept a higher truth when it's clearly presented.
Let's move on to Part 3, evolution and the power of expression. Okay, let's zoom out to the macro level for a minute. The lecture posits that human evolution isn't just physical. The actual endpoint of evolutionary development is reaching the absolute highest level of intellectual discernment and thought. We didn't just evolve to survive. The finish line is reaching a peak state of intellectual and communicative power.
There's a fascinating cultural observation in the text too. It claims that a specific region's language has unmatched expressive power, meaning fine-tuned language allows for fine-tuned thought. Yet it remains unused for global leadership right now because the people are still studying. Basically, they are internally absorbing and learning before they're ready to step up and offer that synthesized knowledge to the world.
And to explain this, the source uses this absolutely beautiful metaphor of a tree. The branches work for the branches, the trunks work for the trunks, but the roots do not work for themselves. They nourish the whole tree. The argument here is that true intellectual leadership acts like those hidden roots. When our communication reaches its highest level, it becomes a tool that nourishes all of humanity, not just ourselves.
All right, let's bring it back down to earth for Part 4, endless assertions ruin relationships.
Look at this stark contrast here. Asserting is just pushing your viewpoint aggressively. And why do we do it? Because we lack the skill to truly explain our perspective. So we just repeat our opinion louder. But understanding, that's mutual. That is the natural, completely effortless result of receiving correct, high-quality information.
And here is the kicker. Endless assertion without mutual understanding causes the fundamental cracks in marriages, friendships, and partnerships. Think about a relationship that drifted apart. Was it really about the dishes or a specific disagreement? The source argues, no. The connection breaks because of aggressive, unskillful communication. When you push your view without the ability to foster understanding, resentment just builds and builds.
So what do we actually do about it? That's Part 5, silence that stops conflict.
The actionable solution here is surprisingly practical. Step 1, recognize they just don't understand your point. You've hit a wall. Step 2, stop endlessly asserting your view. Just stop pushing. Step 3, and the source is very literal here. Close your mouth. Embrace the silence. And Step 4, focus on your own internal study and growth.
If they don't get it, your explanation wasn't good enough. So use that silence to upgrade your own mindset until you actually possess the skill to explain it perfectly.
Which leads us to our final section. Part 6, Communication Creates Miracles.
We so often blame external factors when things go wrong, right? If we just had more money or if the economy was better. But the source insists this is completely backwards. Broken relationships are rarely about a lack of money, they are fundamentally about broken communication. When the communication is broken, even a surplus of cash isn't going to fix the underlying resentment.
And that brings us to this incredibly powerful thesis from the text. When words connect, even lacking economy flows in naturally. It's a total paradigm shift. Resolving your communication doesn't just fix your relationships. Creating that communicative harmony actually creates an environment where even external problems naturally begin to resolve themselves. It's like good communication literally attracts better circumstances.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought for the next time you find yourself getting heated in an argument. Are you simply blaming others for being stubborn, or are you ready to step up, do the internal work, and improve your own ability to connect? The choice is entirely yours, but taking that responsibility is an absolute game changer. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.